Welcome back to Fast Market here on the Schwab Network. It's time for cash tags. For that, let's bring in our next guest. That's going to be Andy Swan, co-founder of LikeFolio. Welcome back to the show, Andy.
Thank you.
All right, so the first big report here out of major tech companies, Tesla reporting after the close today, Andy. It feels like it's just a pretty dim report at this point. They've gotten Q1 deliveries at this point, brand damage. Are you guys seeing any data that's kind of going against the grain here? Because we pulled back a steep 50% since those December highs.
Yeah, we are seeing a little bit of data that shows some reasons for positivity. You've got kind of Tesla and Elon Musk laying on the mat right now after being really beaten up for the past 6 months. Some of it political, some of it self-inflicted, and some of it just baby with the bathwater. I mean, NASDAQ stocks, tech stocks kind of getting thrown out here for more defensive plays. But I think when we look at Tesla, yes, from a web visits perspective, which is a key indicator of demand and of buying interest, that's down 9% year over year. We do think that that's right in line with what is already kind of baked in the cake, and that was Tesla's delivery numbers that came out earlier this month that were pretty negative. And so we think that's probably already in. The positive signs that we're seeing for Tesla are, Google Trends search interest is really showing us what I would consider a very unexpected brand boost in March and April, kind of going against the media scrutiny. We're seeing a nice uptrend in terms of people searching for how they can get a new Tesla. What is Tesla? I think that they're bringing a lot of potential customers into their ecosystem and having some interest in Tesla. I think that that's somewhat political knee-jerk reaction to what's happening to the other side. So they might have opened some doors on the right side of the column, or the Republican side of the column, which is really bizarre to even be talking about. But on the app usage side of things, we're seeing continued growth in this. And I think this is indicative of the technology value that Tesla is bringing to its customers. The full self-driving software is updating more often. You're able to see that in the app. You're able to summon your car from parking spaces in the app. You're able to view security footage from the app, which has become a lot more important over the last few months. So when we look at Tesla overall here, and we look at the stock down this much, is nothing new for us. We've been bullish on Tesla for a really long time, and so there's been 40, 50% drawdowns. There's been a lot of hate. There's been a lot of times that this company was dismissed as dead, just like it is now. And, we see it the other way. We see Tesla as one of the best companies in the world, with one of the best leaders and, capital structures in the world, and an innovative approach to building cars and vehicles that people love. So we like Tesla on any dips here. We think this is going to be a tough report. We think they'll probably lean on production of the new robotaxi ramping up as, kind of that next carrot out there for investors to chase. But we think it's going to be a tough report, but we think probably priced in, we could get a little bit of a relief rally after this.
Andy, when you look at a company like this that is doing so many things, what people are missing, I think, they're focusing on the cars. When they're not focusing on is their revenue stream is getting diversified. When they released their deliveries, what people didn't even skipped over, Tom and I didn't, what people skipped over was the energy storage. That was such a monster number. And everyone's talking about full self-driving and Waymo making advantages. Tesla has 3 billion miles in full self-driving that Waymo can never get in terms of data. The data that they have for full self-driving can't be replicated anywhere. And, by the way, June, they have their CyberCab event in Austin in June. So there may be a lead up into that. There's a lot of reasons here but I think your word, relief rally, might be exactly what we see here. I don't know for sure, but I think that's a real chance here.
Yeah, there's a real possibility of that. I think there's just the possibility that investors in Wall Street finally get to kind of turn the page away from, the political, very, controversial Elon Musk and Tesla, and turn the page towards the future, where the story is very bright. Like you mentioned, the robo-taxis that Tesla will be able to roll out. And I think that their competitors are very good. They're taking a completely different approach, though. And so Tesla, like you said, has 3 billion miles on every road in the country, is getting mapped in real time and seeing how real drivers drive it and building that database and then using AI to enhance it to make it even safer. I think that Tesla is getting much closer to the point of being able to flip a switch and say, okay, there's a robo-taxi network available as long as it's good weather and decent conditions now nationwide. And maybe state-by-state regulations will have something to do with that, but they can go that far that quickly. They don't have to go into a new city, map it all out, and do all the things that Waymo or some others might have to do. And so, I think that the technology stack that Tesla has built and its ability to turn its cars into services business revenue, much like Apple did with the iPhone and is doing with the iPhone, is extraordinary. And like you said, I think it's being completely overlooked by Wall Street, who's dead focused on delivery numbers, and I get it. But the bigger picture here is how many of these devices are on the road today, and how much revenue can that bring in on a subscription or one-off basis in the future. I think the numbers are really, really huge and justify the high PE that Tesla has and really has always had.
Andy, when you look at this, I think this is maybe a watershed moment. This earnings report. Dan Ives comes out, talks about Tesla every day. He said there's a code red event. Turnaround vision must start today on the conference call. He needs to get away from DC. Is that the potential curveball in the entire report? Is the fact that what if he says, oh no, I'm going to stick around DC, do this job of Doge, which a lot of people want and probably necessary. Maybe the way you're going about it might be wrong. Who knows? But at this point, should investors that want to invest in this company, it's almost like they want him to move away and go back to Tesla and just focus on that for at least a little while, and that would definitely help the stock price.
Yeah, I think it would. I think that he will probably, if he doesn't say I'm stepping away from DC, I think he'll give a timeline or an objective that makes it clear that light at the end of the tunnel is coming. And I think that will probably produce some relief for Wall Street, because like you said, I think everyone in the boardroom, the executive level at Tesla knows that that's what investors kind of need to hear at this point. And so I think you'll get something. I don't know if it'll be, look, I'm done with DC today, but I think at least a path to getting there by the end of the year, by the third quarter, whatever it is probably very likely, and I think would be welcomed by investors. I think Elon, personally has developed some ambitions to get what he thinks is wrong about the country righted as much as he can, and he's going after that as hard as he can, as fast as he can, as he is apt to do. And then once he's, accomplished what he thinks he can accomplish or failed at what he thought he could accomplish, he'll move away and back to Tesla and Starlink and all the other companies that he's building.
Yeah, I think that would be a massive relief for investors to get some clarity on his plans. All right, great stuff, great data as always, Andy. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, that's Andy Swan, co-founder of LikeFolio, breaking down Tesla for us. I love when those guys talk about Tesla every quarter.